And we're live. The triumphant return of Thanatos to YouTube. Although I want to say he did a video not that long ago, maybe a month ago, but still super pumped to have him back. And I am joined by two guys that when I first came into YouTube, I was like, wow, these guys are big. I don't know that I want to go anywhere near. I'm not going to try for this. But now I'm hosting TJ the Slabdragon Watson and Matt Thanatos. Gentlemen, I've got great weather today. How are you doing?
Let's not talk about that. I won't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's
cold.
So cold.
Yeah. Very cold.
And TJ, twice in 1 week? How did I get lucky this week? What did I do?
You asked.
So just so that the chat knows, when I first started on YouTube, I was like, okay, I found this Reggie guy, I found this Comic Tom, and I found this Bueller guy. And then that was the trifecta. And then little by little, my bubble expanded. I started seeing Matt show up on Reggie's channel. And then Reggie showed up on Matt's channel. And then Matt got the unboxing of a lifetime. And it was over what, like 3 nights or 2 nights that you did this unboxing?
It was 2 nights.
A year.
We could have probably made it 3 nights.
Yeah. That was a year ago yesterday.
Yes, that was TJ was even mentioning to me. He's like, do you know the anniversary? Dude, he's got away with numbers.
Years ago.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And if you haven't seen it, definitely cruise over to Matt's channel later and check it out. But I watched this video. I was crying. In the middle of the video, I just stopped watching it. I went to Instagram and I shot a video of me saying, stop what you're doing. I don't care what you're doing. Go to this channel. Watch this video. It was amazing. And then it wasn't long after that Matt joined for a book club with Alec and I, and we talked Middle West. And then Matt went after and got that insane variant for the Middle West. And then before long after that, then Matt's on my channel for an AOK from TJ. And it's been a crazy wild ride. And then if you followed Matt's channel, he got his grail. He achieved the tip of the spear, top of the pyramid, whatever you want to call it, and then took a much needed pause in the comic book game. So how are you doing, Matt? Like how's the hiatus been?
I'm good, man. So it's been nice. I had that like one little return. I really did a video where I was like, it's the return, but then I'm like, I'm not ready. It's hard because when you're doing the show and you're creating content, like it's a lot of fun, it's great, but then it's also exhausting. Like, and when I was moving up to Aurora in May, and then having like a 3-hour commute daily was just killing me. And I definitely think I needed to focus a lot on my family. Melody was finishing her nursing stuff. And so there was just a lot going on, and like this is going to be kind of crazy, but I mean, you were there for that 3-hour therapy session.
Yeah. And
I kind of told everybody about my family and my life.
Yeah.
And I talked about how my dad left when I was 11, right? One of these days that I was driving down a few months ago, it had to be like early June. I got a text from my mom and it had a picture of my dad. And it just said, your dad is alive. Like something like straight out of a comic book, man. Like,
what?
Your dad is alive. And it was a picture of him. He was 69 years old. He just turned 70 like a few days ago. And I had to pull over on the side of the road. Like I could hear my heartbeat in it was insane. So I talked to my mom. Like I had to call her immediately, and I guess he showed up to some court date that she had tried to like schedule without thinking that he would actually show up. And her lawyer was like, your ex-husband is here. And so, dealing with that, I've slowly been trying to figure it out. Like, holy crap, I found my dad is dead this whole time. And so that slowly progressed to my sister ended up meeting my dad for the first time in 20 years. And I always thought she was gonna like lose her mind about it, but turns out they had a good cry session. So I actually talked to my dad for the first time a little over 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And he texts me every day now. And there was a time where I think I wouldn't have been okay with all that. Like, you left. I was 11 years old. How's that okay? But now 20 years later, like, there's nothing but it's nice that you're alive and I can get answers that I want, that I need. So it's been kind of crazy these past few weeks, texting my dad and talking to him, learning about his past, what happened, why he walked away.
Omega Comics, you got it right. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know if my face is showing the holy cow. Yeah, are we also talking about Matt's mustache as a supervillain? You can enjoy that right now as well. Yes.
Oh, whoopty bird.
So, I mean, wow. They say the three most stressful things, right? Losing a family member, being divorced, getting divorced, or moving, right?
I got like all of those in like a year and a half.
It's insane. And now you've got almost like, I'm sure just as stressful is the reintroduction of a family member in some way like this. Yeah,
it's been pretty crazy, man.
Wow.
But like, I mean, just the other day, like, I mean, he's 70 years old, but he still texts and stuff, and he'll write like, "Dear Matthew," in his text. It's like a little letter,
like a letter, right?
Yeah. And so I've been sending him all these pictures of like his grandkids, of me growing up, me in the military. He's a Vietnam War veteran, so he really was like interested in what I've been doing in the military.
Wow.
And just like to be on the phone with him and be like, "Love you, Dad." It's just like, I don't know. It's so surreal.
Sure.
Yeah, I honestly thought for a long time that I would be like, I hate you, don't talk to me. But it's just like 20 years later, there's nothing but, he's kind of a broken man. I imagine how you would feel if you walked away from your kids and saw them 20 years later and, they're living. And
you missed out on so much, right?
So I know that hurt him. So it's been kind of nice and different. But everybody, I'm very sorry. I know TJ, the boy at 7, has messaged me a bunch. I appreciate all the messages and stuff. And I know I'm terrible at responding. Aside from YouTube, like my social media presence has been like minimal. But yeah, I'll figure that out.
Well, and I will say, like, I've definitely found the value of having breaks and being able to take breaks from things. So I absolutely agree. I want to run through and just say hello to some people in the chat that have come by that were here early, and I appreciate it. Whoopty Bird says, "Oh dear, Zatanna, I can skip." Okay, Whoopty Bird, don't be talking smack on them legs tonight. You're in the wrong crowd for that. Gray Matter Hulk was the first one in the chat. Comic Books NYC is an awesome guy. Thank you for coming by. Hey, a new YouTuber I don't recognize. Boom, hilarious. Perry Comics is lurking in the chat. JP Budget Collecting says Thanatos is on YouTube. Thanatos is on YouTube. Alert, alert. The comic book G-Spot Robert Galvin is in the chat. Dude, he had an insane Halloween setup. I don't know if anybody saw his pictures on Instagram and the little videos he was doing, because he does it on another level, although it was like 20 degrees or wherever when he was setting his stuff up. Omega Comics and Brick Nasty or Brick Family is in the chat. Let's see, Borinkin Comics, Crazy Guy Comics, Song Too Crazy. That's an insane and awesome name. Let's see here. Whoopty Bird that says he's still here, so he didn't leave. Zatanna did not scare him off. Chung says bending a comic is the 4th worst stressful thing. TJ is with you on that. I think he agrees completely.
We're dropping a comic.
Right. And the Gray Man is in the chat. Thank you for coming by, everybody. And yeah, Boy Who Had 7 is an awesome guy and a huge Thanatos fan because they've got that great, hopefully continuing soon, Jeff Johns Green Lantern chat show.
We're going to have to do like a rehash episode.
Yeah, catch us back up again. So another thing that sort of solidified friendships going on here besides comics, family, is the joy of whiskey. I'm curious to hear what everybody's drinking tonight. I'm doing a little Woodford Reserve, which is a great whiskey I enjoy. If I'm not doing Jameson's, that's usually one I'm trying out. What are you having, TJ?
I'm doing Jefferson's Reserve.
Ooh, lots of reserves.
I wish I had some kind of reserves, but I don't. I'm drinking some Glenmorangie La Santa.
Ooh, 12. That's 12 years. Oh,
Yes, sir.
man, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking at here, what age wise.
Mine just says it's very old.
That's that's what they sometimes put on my tags when I go do things. So the big part of having Matt on here is the fact that I think for both of us, we've done our first comic book trade
Ever.
I've never traded a comic book with anybody,
and you turned out to be amazing.
I'm so happy about this.
I 100% won the trade, by the way.
Not true.
If this was like,
I'm so happy
it was
about
a grade the trade. You got like maybe a B, and I'm at like A+++++.
So if you've been watching my channel a little bit, you've seen some of the little like steps in this process. That box right over Matt's shoulder there is the one I sent to him. It does include some things for your girls, by the way, because my girls won't let me send anything to you without stuff going to your girls. So you can stash it for when they come to visit and they got stuff to read.
Good.
But yes, this was the book that Matt sent me, and I keep saying in my Claremont run I'm filling in, this was probably the biggest book I was missing. Arguably the most iconic, or one of the 3 most iconic Claremont covers. I'm a huge fan of what's going on here. And I was absolutely over the moon to get a copy of this. And the experience of getting the package right over your shoulder there was also really awesome. I sat in line with White Whale Comics for like an hour and a half, talking up Adam Hughes, enjoying that whole scene, and then getting to watch him do like the 3 people in front of us, all the things they did. And then I don't know if you saw what Alec got on his cover.
It was awesome. Yeah,
he got Death from the Sandman series drawn on a Catwoman cover, and it came out gorgeous. So absolutely beautiful piece. But he opted not to go with color. I do think it was a mistake. As you will see in person here in a moment.
It changed everything.
I fully agree. It was absolutely the best way to go.
Yeah, I like from the pictures you sent, and like the fact that Adam Hughes posted this on his Facebook page, I nearly died. I have so many screenshots of that because like Adam Hughes posted it and it's right here. And I'm like,
yeah, absolutely. Comic Books NYC says he must be drinking absinthe because it feels like a 2018 live stream.
We're bringing it back.
Hilarious. And then we've got I Got Issues is in the chat trolling. This is a 2018 live stream. This is too funny. Good to see you guys in here. So, Matt, are you ready to unbox this thing and check it out?
I've had this since Thursday? Wait, yesterday. That's just one day. It feels like it's been sitting here just egging me on.
Right? How do you not open a comic book when it's waiting for you?
Yeah, it's been really hard. You doing this? Do you want me to do it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Now, TJ, you've been watching Matt's channel for longer than I have. The evolution, because I've skimmed around some of the older stuff, it's quite impressive, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And did you guys get to know each other through the Comic Core? Because I know you guys both had OG Comic Core cards, basically. You guys were early on.
On that reviews on the Batcave show.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was like, about almost a year and a half ago now.
I muted Matt so he's opening something, and there's a lot of tape, so I thought it was a good time to put him on silent. Yeah, that's the other benefit, Matt, of this new StreamYard is I can put people in timeout, like drop them out of the stream. I can mute somebody. There's power now, a whole other layer of power. All right, here, I'll unmute you now. Oh God, he's getting a knife out.
The good old knife.
Yes, he's always done the knife.
Kachung, thank you for coming by. Outcast Raptor in the chat.
And of all those times he was opening stuff with knives, he's never cut himself.
Then he clearly knows what he's doing, at least.
Yes.
All right. Some stuff for kids.
I'll put those on the side for them. Do you want me to show?
Doesn't matter. You can do if you like.
Oh,
some stuff for little kids and some stuff for little older kids, because you got a nice pair of girlies there.
The kids get
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony number 68.
That
loves My Little Pony. So
Carly thinks that's one of the funniest issues ever.
The Wonder Woman.
Terry Dodson Wonder Woman too, which Dodson kills Wonder Woman. I think he's absolutely phenomenal.
I love him. What?
Scooby-Doo, Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
That's pretty cool. Was this like an actual run?
I think it was, yeah. My girls find that kind of stuff. They're really good about it. And then DC Superhero Girls.
Of course. Without
My Little Pony is clearly for Matt. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong one.
I could be a brony. You don't know.
Hey, I'd respect.
So joke's on me. Mariko is addicted to Spider-Man. When I say addicted, I mean she will only wear Spider-Man stuff.
That's great.
She has 3 different Spider-Man costumes. All of her winter gear is Spider-Man. Whenever you say what's your name? She goes, Peter Parker. Like, are you kidding me?
That's hilarious. This is your little one, right?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think my ex is doing it on purpose.
Hey, at least she's introducing the comics. We're okay with that, right? Take the win.
Oh my God.
He's looking at it.
This is crazy. Yeah, maybe the jacket was wrong because I'm hot. I'm so hot. All right, guys. So let me preface this by a lot of people in the Facebook when Adam Hughes posted it, we're like, why this comic? And it's because this is for me, right? I don't plan on selling this ever. So Adam Hughes wrote format on it. And it's like the perfect mix of my 2 favorite things, right? Which is Zatanna and the Green Lantern. And also there's no Zatanna blank covers. So,
dude, I'm saying right now, it's gorgeous. And even on camera, I'm noticing now it's not as good as it is in real life. It's so good.
Insane. And is that his wife or?
Yeah, his wife.
Allison,
yeah.
That does the coloring?
Yeah.
The inking?
The skin tone. I mean, I don't know. You can't see it on a camera. The layers and skin tone that she does, you can see where it's darker under the hat and lighter away from the hat.
That's insane. And I mean, you saw his other quick sketches, and you even mentioned that he never draws eyes, and I've never seen that before on his quick sketches. And so when you sent me this is not what I was expecting. Like when you sent me just before it was colored, like so beautiful.
Even Allison, when he was finishing, it was like, he doesn't do eyes open, right? He's like, he does. And then the funny thing is, he did right after me, he did Alex's, Alex. And for Alex, he did the eyes open on his as well. And I didn't see anybody else get that the whole weekend.
How fast did he draw this? How fast was it?
I think he was pumping them out in less than 5 minutes.
That is crazy.
I would say give or take. He does a quick little pencil sketch, just really, really raw. And then he gets in there with a thin Sharpie and does a couple things. And then he gets this super wide Sharpie and he just goes wham, wham, wham. And it hits he gets her hair, he gets the hat. And then it was just by then it was basically done. And he went in and did a little touch-ups here and there. And it was amazing.
I think the little swirl on the bottom's a nice touch too.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side or whatever behind her.
This.
Yeah, that.
Or the green that she did was super cool.
Oh. And the exclamation mark after your name.
I know.
I freaking love it.
Oh my God. This was the best thing I could have ever traded for. I would have given you so much more. you should have negotiated a little better.
Not at all, brother. I was absolutely pleased. I honestly, yeah, wow.
Whoopty Bird asked if his wife also signs AH. No, she's the AS.
Yeah. And I don't think she signed at all. I don't think she put any markings on it. But she took it overnight to do it. So I was like one of the first people to ask for her to color it. And she took it. She's like, oh, and I paid in advance, which she's like, usually she doesn't like that. She likes to pay at, after. But I was like, here, I got the money. Let's just do it. And then the next day I got to her before the con opened and they were just setting up the booth. And she's like, oh, I got yours right here. And she's like, what do you think? I think I did a pretty good job on this one. She was like super excited about it. And yeah, I was just like, dude, this is unbelievable. And the rose, so cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got like texture to it.
Right?
But you can only see it really like up close.
You gonna get that framed?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm really happy we didn't decide to get it graded because I really think that they would not have done as much.
He's a stickler about it because, like you said, he charges more for that.
Yeah, it's twice the price if you get it graded. And what's the point if this is going to be mine forever?
And the coloring, if she was doing coloring overnight, she would have had to rush the coloring and do it that day when the CGC guy was there. So, who knows the quality she would have had done.
How long did you end up waiting in line?
So he had set an hour or an hour and a half for doing sketches, and the line was there 30 minutes before he got there. There was a huge line, and Allison kind of walked to the end and gave a sign to somebody to hold at the end of the line, but then they ignored it and they just let anybody join it. And by the time Alec and I got to the table, it had been almost 2 hours.
Oh my God, you waited 2 hours.
We were in the middle of the line. Like he was just busy the whole time. He even made a joke before we got to him that he's like, when I die, they're just going to prop me up and I'm just going to they're going to move my hand around and make me keep doing this.
Just like Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Right.
That's morbid, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's how long I waited for Stan Lee was 2 hours. So I know what you felt like.
Yeah. And no shots to Neil Adams in the sense that he had like no line, this huge, insane booth with giant signs. Then you have Adam Hughes' booth, which looked like every other random little booth, one little sign for his name, a couple of art prints for sale. And that was it. And the line was like along the wall and around the corner. It was like huge. Jay Hood says, submit it anyways and get the color-coded label.
That's actually pretty genius.
The green label, right? Because Green Lantern.
Not
clever guy.
I think that would look really nice in a frame. A real nice frame.
Speaking of that, I have another Zatanna piece by Adam Hughes that I don't think I ever showed on my channel, but I showed it on my Instagram. This is that print. I showed TJ this. I got this framed. This.
Whoa, let me blow you up there. Sorry. What?
Yeah. I'd been looking for this print for a while and it never popped up. And some guy I messaged on the Adam Hughes Facebook. He said he had found a few of these because I think each of these prints was limited to like 100.
Wow.
And they were going to bring them to New York City Comic-Con. And some guy, I asked like in that thing, like, hey, can anyone pick this up for me? Like, I don't care what it costs. I'll pay it. And nobody answered. And then at New York City Comic-Con, some guy messaged me and he's like, hey, I actually picked this up for somebody and they ended up falling through for it. So do you want it? And I PayPal'd him immediately. And then I let the people at Michael's kind of help me decide on this frame. And
I love the color of the bordering.
Yeah, it's like velvety maroon.
right? It looks like the curtain almost.
Yeah.
You should have that book done with the same kind of frame and put it next to each other.
Side by side, as they were meant to be.
Oh my God.
Is that print from a cover that he did?
No. So this is a homage to, I forgot what that artist's name is, but it's the Four Seasons. And so there's actually, it's a set of 4. Wonder Woman, Zatanna.
Poison Ivy, maybe?
No, maybe.
Black Canary?
No, dang it.
Batgirl.
Batgirl's one of them. And I don't remember the 4th one. Harley? No, I don't know if it was Harley. I don't think it was Harley. Adam Hughes isn't. This was like pre-Harley being really, really famous.
It's a great piece. Wow.
Supergirl. It was Supergirl.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's a. I'd have to look. Maybe it was Hot Girl. I don't know. But yeah, it was so four different prints, and this is obviously the only one that I really wanted. But I think she is fall, like autumn.
Gotcha.
But that's the best one of the bunch too. That was really
agreed.
So you've seen these before, TJ?
Yeah.
There's one currently on eBay, and if it happened right after New York City Comic Con, and if I hadn't picked it up then, I would have bought that. Nice.
Yeah. After Matt said he was trying to get one and he missed out and everything, you got to know I was looking on eBay.
Yeah, so I still need to find a place to put that up. But, dude, this is amazing. The fact that you waited in line for 2 hours is just...
I will say, like, the guys that I was waiting in line with were all hysterical. We were all having a blast, just messing around, laughing. And we were right next to Jeff Lemire's booth. The line went like up against his booth, and Jeff is sitting there signing. And then when his line died down, I realized I had a book of his in my backpack. So I just pulled it out and laid it across the table. He had to like turn his chair the other way so that he could sign it. But he was really cool about it. It was Descender #1 that I had already gotten signed. When I bought it, it was signed by Nguyen. And so I handed it back, and he was, but it was totally funny. Like, well, let's just use this time in the line to get this other signature. But it was just Alec and I sitting on the floor.
Oh, so Alec was there with you?
Yeah, because he was getting his signed, his sketch done on the Catwoman cover, and we even recorded some videos just sitting on the floor.
It's so much easier when you got someone you know with you when you're waiting in line. Because me and Justin were sitting on the floor for Stan Lee and people around us from Canada, and being accosted by actors that didn't like their picture being taken. So.
We had an actor walk by from the new Battlestar Galactica, Chief Tyrrell, the Master Chief who works in the deck there fixing the ships. That actor walked by, and I just shouted out, "Master Chief!" He looked over and he did this thing, and then Alex said, "So say we all." We were the only people that recognized him or said anything, and it was perfect. There happened to just be the two of us idiots sitting in line.
That must have made him smile.
He did. He laughed. He smiled, and then I think he pulled his hood up a little and scurried away like a mouse.
Overall, you had a good time at Baltimore Comic Con. It looked like everybody was having a blast.
It was amazing, and shout out to the Comic Corps and specifically Chad, because they did something that, at least in my limited experience, I've never seen anybody do, as far as getting wired internet at a con, setting up cameras, lights, and a computer, and having these incredibly huge artists and writers come in and just talk to them. I mean, the level of quality people that they sat down and talked to. And I'm sad to say, and maybe I should drop links for some of those videos, only one of those videos, or only a couple of those videos, got more than 100 views. Wow. It's a shame. The most popular one is when I interviewed a cosplayer who wants to create a character called Captain Chicago, and that got 150 views, and that's the highest of all of the interviews we did. And I'm talking about interviews with guys like Brian Azzarello, Jeff Lemire, Howard Chaykin.
Wow.
I mean, big, just like hugely talented people. Marv freaking Wolfman, New Teen Titans, Marv Wolfman. And these videos are not getting anywhere near enough watch. So if you cruise over to the Comic Core channel and scroll down through some of those videos, you'll see some really talented artists and writers, maybe some people that you really love, talk a little bit about their work, because that was the coolest thing. And getting to hang out with all those folks and talk to them a little bit was wild. Where is Alec? I can shoot him the link. I have a feeling he was gone Wednesday because he was on a little trip.
Yeah, he's out. He's out for the night.
Yeah, I didn't think he was available. I'll shoot him the link anyways. But
so
if he gets
how many views did the Pepper video get?
The which video?
The Pepper.
Oh, the chili pepper video with Alec, Alec Legend and Seawood eating hot peppers from Don Rosa is a phenomenal video. Probably my favorite video. I'm glad that TJ liked that one.
It's painful to watch.
It's powerful. It's painful. I made a new thumbnail for it that has, Scrooge McDuck on the cover. It's really great video. I want to say that's in the 80s range. I can click over and take a look.
Okay. Because I felt so bad for Legend because he's the one that suffered the most.
He did, a poor guy, and he did it because of his love for Don Rosa. So I don't know if you know who Don Rosa is, Alec, or sorry, Matt.
No.
Don Rosa is an artist very famous for not creating Scrooge McDuck, but certainly popularizing him in comics and making that character huge. And then basically that whole DuckTales TV show came out of that.
What?
Yeah,
I love that show.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I own a lot of his pedigrees. Yeah, he has a really nice collection. Yeah,
and he's a hugely talented guy, hugely friendly guy, and he came around and the booth and talked for a little bit. But then, of course, the great Legend loves Don Rosa. Talked about him the whole con, and he brought this great Masterworks hardcover collection, and then brought it over. And Don drew in it and signed it, and all this cool stuff. And his deal is, if you get a signature from him, he'll give you the homemade hot chilies that he makes in his house, right? He grows them in his garden, and then he brings them to cons. He just gives them away. So he gave a set to the Great Legend. The Great Legend brought them back to the booth, and then they ate them, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Alec, they had one skinny red one and two yellows, and the yellows were these short, fat beasts. And nobody knew the variety or anything. And Alec drew the red one, and apparently it wasn't that hot. Seawood and Legend drew the yellows, and it was painful to watch, but hilarious. I was standing behind the camera just dying. And that video I just checked, 109 views.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch some of these.
So I see Mark. I'll just go through some of the interviews. Mark Waid got 80 views. I think that's definitely a scandal. Mark Waid was amazing. Let's see. The Don Rosa was 109. They interviewed Marv Wolfman, and it's only got 76 views. Marv Wolfman is a god. He should have way more. Jeff Lemire got 92. Brian Azzarello 96. Howard Chaykin 108. I'm just noticing that. So those that don't know, I went through and made a bunch of thumbnails for those videos. So I'm noticing all the ones I made nice thumbnails for have gone up considerably in views. So those of you looking to make your channels better, this is a sign that maybe you should get nice thumbnails on your videos.
Dude, your thumbnail was awesome.
I had a lot of fun with that one. I wanted to have a little Phoenix and a little Zatanna mixed.
You ended up doing literally a little Phoenix and a huge Zatanna.
Yeah. Here she is. She's way back here, and then there's big Zatanna. So there's a lot of great ones in there that I think people should check out. Is the channel monetized? No, my channel's not monetized. I don't think the Comic Core is right around. Actually, my channel, Maddie Stant channel, and I think the Comic Core are all right around that 800 range somewhere. So a little bit of everything, but nobody's monetized. And I was telling Matt before we went live, it sounds very much like YouTube wants to change the monetizing structure, I think, significantly, both the number of viewers you need to have and how the system will work. So it's possible some of that kind of stuff will change in the future. Yeah. Sadly. Yeah.
Matt has actually gone up, even though he hasn't been on for 2 months. He's at 888.
What was I at before I left?
870 something, but you went up.
Who's watching this guy's channel? Nothing's on there. Okay. I'm going to screen share what Alec. Sorry. God, I keep saying Alec. Clearly, I'm thinking of my man. He's not here right now. But I'm going to screen share what you just sent to me, TJ, and because it is amazing. And let's see if I can get this done right. Chrome tab. I want to share this one. Okay, boom. Look at that. Is that coming in nice and clear? Those were the pictures that Matt and TJ were talking about. You've got Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batgirl, and Zatanna. That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, Adam Hughes has some talent.
Batgirl is the winter, it looks like.
Yep.
And then Wonder Woman is summer.
I believe so.
God, he does Wonder Woman. I mean, he does every lady amazing, but maybe I just like Wonder Woman a lot.
He's doing he's doing a Wonder Woman cover coming up, I think, for $750.
Really?
Yeah. For someone that doesn't know much about what's going on in the comic book world, I know that.
Yeah. That Batgirl is my second favorite.
The Batgirl.
Yeah, the winter.
Yeah.
I've seen the Batgirl one go on sale on eBay. I have never seen the Wonder Woman or Supergirl, and the Zatanna one is up there right now. And it's priced a little more than what I think Adam Hughes actually charges for them.
Huh.
I think he was charging like $125 or $150 per print.
Okay.
And I think the Zatanna's on sale for like $250 on eBay.
Yeah. What was the print run of those? It was very low.
It was 100 total.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought these were gone forever, and Adam Hughes was like, or it was Allison that posted it. She's like, "Hey, we found like very limited amounts of these in our basement." So
I agree. They do have a fun kind of tarot card look, Gray Man. The rounded edges are, cool that way. Whoopty bird, are you trying to get kicked?
You were the worst.
Trying to get kicked out of here. There's a lot of wrenches in that chat. You better watch out, Whoopty Bird. Somebody's going to lay the hammer on you.
Imagine
what did he say?
He said, Rob Liefeld can draw circles around Hughes. Just don't ask him to do feet. I mean, you can't imagine Zatanna with pouches.
He's not wrong.
That Rob Liefeld can draw circles around Hughes?
No, that he can't draw feet or she wouldn't look good with pouches.
Yeah. Just put her in pouches and shoulder pads.
Yeah. huge pauldrons.
So before we went live, also, I know that obviously Matt's a huge Green Lantern fan and that TJ loves his Green Lantern too. There's some huge news going on with Green Lantern these days. I was super pumped because I was in Baltimore and I mentioned to you that I grabbed some books while I was there. I had to get me some. I'm enjoying the Emerald Twilight, and I got 2 of the keys, and I have the one that goes in between where he's wearing all the rings. That amazing cover. So what are your feelings about this, TJ? With this said Green Lantern movies, TV, something's coming here.
Well, Guy Gardner, I guess, is going to be the focus. So we'll have to wait and see how the casting goes.
Who said that?
I hadn't heard that specific idea, but I do think it's not going to be Hal. The TV series. The TV series.
The TV series, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be sad. I mean, I like Guy Gardner, but
I obviously want Kyle.
I want Jon Stewart.
Or Jon Stewart, yes.
Jon Stewart would be so good because you could have like wartime, like as he's learning to be a Green Lantern, it could go back to like him training in the Marines, and it would just be a good way to do like flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah, they're saving Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart for the movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I heard that as well. And I would think a really great, HBO R-rated fighting aliens in space Green Lantern Corps show.
Yeah.
Would be really cool.
It's going to focus more on the aliens than on the human characters on the show.
And I heard the same thing Whoopty Bird heard, which was that Raynor was going to be a big part of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was several different lanterns and that it was more focusing on a team, or at least the job of the Corps in general, as set up for a future Lantern film.
Well, we will see.
I heard Raynor too originally, but in the last few days, everyone's saying it's going to be Guy Gardner.
We are going to get Jon Stewart in the Arrowverse for Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yes.
John Diggle, a.k.a. Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
I got a chance at Comic-Con to talk to Jonathan Sheck, who's the actor who's playing Jonah Hex in that as well. And he was nice enough not to spoil too much, but he was definitely very excited for all the characters that are going to come together for that Arrowverse in Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, it is so cool how they're bringing back so many different characters.
Right?
Mostly Superman. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, he was listing all the Supermen.
Yeah, like everybody, all the Supermen are coming back, one extra Lois Lane, and then like that's all we hear about for now.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've been bringing back the Huntress from the 90s series. You know, it's
what?
like, yeah, she's on it. Yep.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I feel like I need to catch up on a lot of the CW television stuff. I started the Arrow and never got very far. Started the Flash. I think the only show I really watched almost all of was Smallville. I think that was the only CW show I stuck with.
Yeah. And that Tom Welling's come back to play Superman.
He is. That's the thing I'm most excited about is Tom Welling, man.
I don't know. And Brandon
Ralph, yeah.
So yeah, Ralph. The pictures of him as Kingdom Come Superman,
the gray,
amazing. Like that is so good. Oh man, I'm so excited.
And
I hope it was.
Lucifer is going to be making a guest appearance.
That'd be cool. They should put John Constantine in there.
Well, John Constantine is on it. He will.
He is going to be there. The actor from the other show, yeah.
That's right, because he's Legends of Tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it'd be nice if they meet. Yeah.
Whoopty Bird says Arrow was good until about season 3 or so, and he stopped there.
I feel like all the shows just they repeat themselves too much. Like it's the same thing every season where they just like regurgitate the same storyline.
Yeah.
Like how many speedsters can there possibly be? All of them.
I mean, they were all in the comic books, but still, we don't need to see it every season.
Yeah, like maybe you put more Gorilla Grodd in there, Mirror Master, do some other stuff.
Oh, Boy, 76 said, bring back Michael Keaton Batman.
Well, he will be making an appearance in the picture.
In the background somewhere.
68-year-old Linda Carter.
Oh,
hey,
don't play with my heart that way, Matt. Yeah. I love her twirling and her giant grandma panties.
That's right. Huge grandma panties.
I will say, I think the biggest issue CW has with their shows is that they're stuck in an old TV model. You know, they want to do those 24 episode seasons.
Yeah.
And I think the current TV model with like, power streaming a show from beginning to end and having just 10 to 13 episodes is more effective. And I think, America is finally getting on board with what Britain's been doing forever. And I think the more channels that start realizing that that's a more effective way to do things, the better. So hopefully CW comes around to it, because I felt the exact same way even with Smallville, which I really loved. You started feeling like, damn, there's a lot of crap that happens in this little town, right? Like everybody seems to be affected by media rights in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
you're a metahuman.
Lucifer on Netflix was only 10 episodes for the last season, and it was really so much better quality than the 22 episodes Fox had.
Yeah, I think that old American model of doing 24 or whatever episodes in a season, it's gone by the wayside, and I think it's hard for a show to maintain a quality over that many hours. I know that I am teased for being old a lot, but like the only show that I've seen successfully do that over the last like even 10 years was The Good Wife. I don't know if anybody on this panel watched that show, but if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing show. And to see them be able to pull off 24 hours of just riveting television, it's like they make it look easy. And the truth is, all the other shows I'm watching, I'm like, nobody else can freaking do it. Like nobody.
Yeah, I got a question for you. On the bottom of my screen, it says chat. If I hit that, can I see the chat?
You should, yeah.
Oh.
On the right-hand side, it should say comments or something. There's a spot to do private chat where you dropped in a little note, or Matt dropped in a note. If I type in hi, it says hi.
Okay.
That's a private chat between the three of us, so we can write things like,
I see what that is.
Okay. Bird is a knucklehead.
Except
and then he doesn't know that I'm saying that.
Didn't type
and it's private, and it's just between us, and nobody else is aware that I'm saying it.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
right?
Oh, and you said hi earlier. That's what there was a one there.
And then Matt put the link to the Zatanna quad of things there, of the pictures.
Yeah.
But then there's the full chat. I don't know how to do it on the phone, but there's a way. There might be a way to see the comments in the chat.
I'm so old. I know nothing about technology.
Did Matt watch the end of Game of Thrones? Because I know he's a fantasy book fan. I'm almost to the ready to talk about another book, but let's hear what he had to say. Did you finish Game of Thrones?
Of course I did, and man, it hurt. It hurt so bad. But
How?
it also, and I don't blame the writers. Like, a lot of people are putting the blame on the writers, and I think they rushed it. Yes, they should have done. You can't go from in 3 episodes changing the major villain. Bang, bang, bang. Like, that's not feasible. Like, what the hell was the rest of the 7 seasons for? They should have done 1 season, season 8 versus the Night King. Season 9, the fight for King's Landing. Good night, Comic Books NYC. Thanks for hanging out.
And Night Boy, who had 7, he's hitting the dinner. Thanks for coming on, brother. Good to see you.
Thanks, the boy who had 7. And so that was, but like, again, the writers, the show definitely took a downturn once George R. R. Martin's writing went away. So I don't blame the writers. I blame George R. R. Martin for being a lazy sack of crap. He is going to die before this book series is over. Think about it. I mean, I talked to you about different art, like authors. You know, Brandon Sanderson can pump out like 10 novels in a year. Patrick Rothfuss is definitely taking a sweet time. He might be another.
I want to get to that book next.
Yeah,
we will talk about it.
He's going to be another George R. R. Martin where he just pumps out.
Because I have finished book 1.
Oh,
I can legitimately talk about it now.
So good. Terry Goodkind, all these guys have been able to do like 15 books in 20 years. George R. R. Martin has been writing the Game of Thrones series for like 25 years. Finish your fucking story, man. If you had finished it, you wouldn't have had this guessing game for your writers where you just set them up for failure. Like, all you did was make your series look like crap. Oh man, it's frustrating. I'm not a big fan of him.
And am I the only person that was happy with the last season of Game of Thrones?
What?
Am I the only person that was happy with the last season of Game of Thrones?
How could you be happy about it? Because it ended?
It played out exactly as I predicted it would be from season 1.
There's no way that you predicted 50% of that, TJ. No way.
Yeah. Daenerys, yes. I knew that she was going to be the ultimate bad guy. I knew that she was evil from the first season.
Well, I mean, yeah. So that's the 50%. The rest of it, there's no way you could have predicted that little Stark, who had no purpose in the entire show, being the three-eyed raven.
Oh, I knew he was going to be the king. I get on the throne. I knew there was not going to be a throne, but I knew he was going to be ruler. I knew that. Ever since he started being out of the body experiences and the eyes rolling back, I knew that he's going to be the one.
Matt's typing in the chat.
I feel like, and there was just Cersei Lannister got the easiest possible death.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that. Her and her brother dying that way was disappointing.
The entire character development for Jaime Lannister.
Yeah.
You had 7 issues of him becoming this guy that you just loved. And then
you threw it away.
You threw it away by having him go back to his sister.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that. I have to admit that was disappointing. I wanted him to kill her violently and then go back to
Can I go on that note? Because one of my favorite things from the books, and they put it in the show and then forgot about it, is that when Cersei as a kid goes to the soothsayer and they predict her future, they tell her how many kids she's going to have. They tell her she's going to marry a king, but she's not going to love the king, and she'll be queen, but none of her kids will survive her. She will live longer than all her kids. They also tell her she will be killed by her brother.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful setup because in her mind, you know, she's thinking Tyrion's going to kill me. That's why he's a threat to me. It has to be Jaime.
Yeah.
There's no way Martin is not going to have Jaime kill her in his books. So how do you not do it in the freaking show?
That was like the betrayal of Jon Snow to Daenerys should have been the betrayal of Jaime against Cersei. Like that should have been the killing the queen that we should have fucking seen. Excuse my language. Super not okay with all of that. And Whoopty Bird made a good point. Jaime, Dany, and the Hound all were having like the redemption. Maybe not Dany, but the Hound had a good redemption character build. And then, you know, the multiple times he always like kind of went back to like revenge isn't the answer type. And then he dies in a revenge fight.
Yes, this is John's channel. Sorry, guys. You're not going to see Dem Legs until Matt decides to show Dem Legs. we went with Dem Head.
Bad news about Dem Legs. She got injured.
In the move?
I know. No, she was up. I don't know how to point right there.
She committed suicide. She jumped off the top shelf.
I was sitting on the couch playing a video game, and Alfred the cat jumped up there and just looked at me and was like, "Nope," and knocked all three of. I had my Supergirl, this Zatanna, the other Zatanna, all up there, and they all went crashing down. Luckily, Dem Legs is the only one that got injured. Got a little cracking up here, so she will be going back
to reslab,
to get reslabbed,
reholstered. Oh man, well there she is though. At least everybody gets a chance. Here, let me blow you up real quick. Everybody can see Dem Legs. I will shout out. Reggie now has it on the wall behind him. He finally hung it up.
Does he?
Yes. I've seen it in several videos behind him. It's on the second or third layer behind him, but it's there.
What
center?
What grade did he get on it?
I don't even remember. I want to say it was 9.6, 9.8, something in there.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, I went Whoopty. You said something about Daenerys getting redeemed. I think that her story is the opposite of a redemption story. I think she definitely is. I don't know about the villain, but I think the story that she's telling is the story of how somebody with good intentions can slowly twist their perspective so that they believe that doing something horrible is the best choice.
I call it the Sinestro effect.
Absolutely. It's a great way to think of it. And I think that there's no way Dany was going to end up on the throne as a hero. That is, if you thought that was Game of Thrones, then I don't think you were watching it closely enough.
Those are the people that name their kids Daenerys.
Yeah, right?
Which is so
absolutely. It was not. Yeah, great point. Island comment says it's a dedemption story, not a redemption story. I believe she was a failure. Now, here's I did not want. I will say this. I'm somewhere in between the two of you in that, number one, I didn't hate it, but number two, I really didn't love it. And it felt unworthy of both the books and the show that had preceded it. And I will say I didn't have a problem with like any of the notes they were playing. I did have a problem with the order and the speed at which they played them. And I think as a result, it robbed everything of any emotion at all. It was a very emotionless final season, considering how emotional most of the show was up to then. It was kind of sad.
And I think the actors could feel it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't mind that Arya killed the Night King. I just wanted her to use this ability of wearing the faces. I wanted Jon Snow to kill Dany only to pull the mask off and be like, she had to kill her brother and put on his mask to do this job. Yep. Her brother couldn't. I wanted Jon not to have the stones to kill Dany. And then Arya would have to kill her brother just to get his face to go and do the job that he couldn't do. That's the ending I wanted. I wanted Arya to kill the big bad, but to do it, she had to jump through a few hoops. Yep. I wanted someone else. Maybe Jon Snow succeeds and kills the Night King, but back down and where the difference between earning a throne and then ruling a nation is a constant theme on that book series. You have Jon Snow earning the throne with Dany, but neither one of them is right to lead, and neither one of them is right to sit in it, you know? And Arya has to be the one to take them both out of the game so that even if it's the crow that sits in the chair at the end, she's the one eliminating the folks. So that's kind of what I wanted to see.
It should have been Tormund.
Tormented Brienne.
That's the ending we deserved.
And here's the thing, JP, I agree. They crammed 2 or 3 seasons into one, which is ridiculous because HBO wanted more. So why are you even doing that?
Yeah, they're making
HBO wanted more. You could do it. Why not space it the right way? I also know there were issues in the backside with actors who didn't want to be locked in for several years more, didn't want to be doing longer engagements, and several of them, even in the final season, were saying, "I'm only shooting for this many days. This is all you're getting out of me." Yeah. And so then, okay, how do you shoot this epic story arc finale for somebody when you only get them for 5 days out of the year or whatever it is?
Yeah.
So that's frustrating because that's a short-sighted actor who's not realizing that their decision is affecting an entire show that built their career. But that's just my opinion. The writers and actors were ready to be done. Then I would say, JP, they should take a couple years off and not do the finale until they're all in the right headspace. But
yeah,
again,
I think people would have appreciated it more if it was done right. I mean, do you see the people at Halloween that were like wearing trash bags and they had a piece of paper that said like Game of Thrones final season?
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. I did not see that.
It was so great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's garbage.
You throw boatloads of cash at them. Well, they were throwing boatloads of cash at a lot of things, Dave. I don't know how much they had left for every single one of the actors who wanted some. I think it was very challenging. And then several of the actors weren't even available at the same time. So you shoot one actor talking to a wall, and then you shoot another actor talking to a wall 5 months later, and then you cut it together and try to make a scene out of it. It's complicated and frustrating.
But I mean, even thinking of even that, like the very ending with Bran becoming king, like when Tyrion's like, we want someone who has a good story. Like he had the worst story in the entire show. This is his first time ever being in King's Landing. He's never been south of Winterfell until right now.
Right.
Like, let's make him king. No.
Well, and I also felt like the show, or at least not the show, I think the books are setting up for this idea that you'll have, at the end, one player from all the households left. And so you're definitely going to have a Lannister left. I don't know which one that Martin will pick, but I think you'll have one Lannister. You're going to have one Baratheon because you're going to have that bastard son around. I think you're going to have one of the Greyjoys left. And I think the show screwed up and let way too many Starks live because it was an insane number of Starks left at the end. Like they didn't kill any Starks in the last 4 years of the show.
Oh yeah,
they killed one random little kid, and then one that's it. Way too many Starks live. They needed, honestly, for me, it's got to be Sansa. Arya has to go and be killed for her crimes, in my opinion, of killing whomever she kills, and you're left with Sansa. It's got to be. That's just my opinion. I think she's the one who learned to play the Game of Thrones the best. The Starks suck at the Game of Thrones, and Martin appreciates people who know how to play it. And Sansa is the only one who legitimately learns at all. The others are all just like, no, I'm going to keep doing it my way. No, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to learn. I'm just going to keep doing it my way. This is my way. And that's how Ned Stark dies.
Sansa was my least favorite character on the show.
I would say she's designed to frustrate you because she takes so long to start learning. But once she starts learning, she's legitimately the only Stark who learns a lesson, period. Arya is like, no, Arya in episode 1 is still Arya at the end. It's the same girl. Jon Snow, same guy. Jon Snow learns nothing. And he's basically a Ned Stark to a T. And that's what gets you beheaded. It's just legitimately the truth.
I feel bad for I feel like Tyrion in the show is a letdown. Like in the books, he's so smart. He's a master at the Game of Thrones. And in the story, like in the show, every time he has these great ideas and he's helping someone, it always fails and everybody dies. And you're like, Tyrion, they did him a disservice.
Yeah, I can't decide how Martin feels about him just yet. So sorry to cover you up there, Matt. NYC says they canceled the prequel they already shot with Naomi Watts and have given a straight-to-series order to House of the Dragon, which is going to be a Targaryen show. Yeah, I have heard that as well. Yeah, that's the problem with those word bubbles. They cover up people. On a separate note, as far as a book that Matt put me onto that I ended up reading this summer and finishing, Patrick Rothfuss and The Name of the Wind is an amazing freaking book. TJ, I don't know if you're a fantasy reader at all, TJ. Have you read that one?
No, I have not read that one.
I will say it is the most original fantasy book I have read since I read Game of Thrones. I have not read a fantasy book as original as Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. If you haven't heard of it, you should look it up there. That is the worst freaking cover. That's a Fabio cover. It's freaking awful. And
but that's a rare cover.
I have this book. I have it. I have that version. Yes, I bought it off of not eBay, Salvation Army. I bought it through the Salvation Army.
This sells for a lot of money now.
Oh, does it? I will say my dust jacket is a little damaged.
It doesn't matter. If you put it up on eBay, you probably get like $200 for it.
Really? Because I paid like $20, $15 with shipping.
Yeah, this is the hardest cover to find.
Yeah, but it's like a freaking Fabio. It's like skinny Fabio.
It's so bad.
Horrible cover for that book. So I have that, and then I have the more recent paperback cover, which is beautiful, and I think the cover looks amazing.
They have some of the international versions have some of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen.
No, The Name of the Wind is not Barry, but it's close. It's very similar. It's an amazing piece of work because I think it goes way above and beyond what a fantasy book could do, and just the fact that a writer could describe music in a way that moves you is like, okay, wait, like how do you describe music to somebody? It's like it's an impossible challenge, and he repeatedly does it perfectly in a way that you are moved by music you can't possibly even be hearing. And it's got like bits of David Copperfield as far as orphan living on the street. It's got bits of like theater and actors living in a troupe. It's got like I said, this powerful music. It's got all the great Terry Goodkind learning to be a wizard kind of stuff, that almost like a Harry Potter going to school and learning. It is a little bit of everything, and it's beautifully written. So The Name of the Wind is Mary. Jimi Hendrix told us, duh. So if you're a fantasy novel fan, and I know that this panel is definitely a fan of those kind of things, whether it's Tolkien or Potter or whatever, all those different great worlds. John sells books way better than you do, Thanatos. This is the second book he described I want to read. There you go. And Matt put me onto it. I put it on my wish list last Christmas, and a family member got it for me, and I didn't have time to read it till summer. But I was texting Matt. Yeah, I was texting Matt all the time I was reading it, saying, dude, this is really a great book. I can't believe. And then we finally got a chance to talk a little bit about it.
We should do a Name of the Wind video. That should
Tolkien is next. That's our goal. Tolkien. Okay. And I've pretty much researched everything. So at this point, you just need to show up and we'll talk about Tolkien.
Oh, will that happen this year?
Yeah, right. One day. I'm hopeful November, December. Maybe it's a Christmas present for all of us. It's a little Tolkien talk.
Yep.
So when did you read Name of the Wind, Matt? How long ago did you read it?
It was years ago. It had to be, or I don't know, 2000. It had to be like 5 years ago, maybe like 2013. When did that book come out? I didn't read it when it first came out.
So much like Martin and his slow writing, Rothfuss has been working on this trilogy of books for a while now.
Yeah.
And I love, even as I finished book one, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if he called them like day 1, day 2, and day 3. And people are legitimately calling them day 1, day 2, and day 3 because the hero character, for those that don't know the story, basically is telling his own life story to what they call the chronicler, a storyteller who's writing his life story now. And he's just saying, I'll tell you my life story, but it'll take 3 nights. We'll sit down 3 nights and I'll tell you my whole life story. And book 1 is the first night. everything he can tell him about his youth and the first part of his life. And then you've got book 2, and then finally book 3 would be The Last Night. But he is taking a long time to write it. Patrick Rothfuss is going rather slowly. And so 2 books have been published, and it's been, what, a handful of years already since the last book was published.
People are definitely antsy about it because it is so good. And I would definitely love to see him. Yeah, Whoopty Bird. That's it's the book with the innkeeper bartender guy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, he knows the stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I have to apologize for the coughing tonight. The Comic Corps watched Night of the Living Dead last night, and I played a drinking game, kind of. Instead of drinking, I was going to smoke a cigarette every time someone on that movie lit up.
Oh, geez.
Do that. What?
Do you still have any cigarettes in your state?
I went through a pack in an hour and a half.
Wow. Wow.
My lungs are a little crispy today.
Yeah, I would understand. That makes sense. We've had the nasty winds blowing around here, so that's why I'm all stuffed up. Though everything's in the air right now. It's really brutal.
You're safe from the fires, right?
Yes, the fires are somewhere between LA and San Francisco in the northern central part of the state. I am very close to Mexico, just above San Diego, so I'm pretty far south.
Yep. And does anyone know if Reggie's all right?
He posted a video a couple of days ago saying, wind, wildfire, and something else. He's like, it's a natural catastrophe, but sounds like he's pretty safe. Yeah, sounds like he's okay. What does it say when you get all 3 books on it? Why does it say you can get all 3 books on Amazon? I don't know why, JP.
Book 3. I mean, they
might have a pre-order.
No, there's a novella that he wrote in 2014 called "The Slow Regard of Silent Things," which is a novella about Ari, the girl that he liked. Yeah.
Love that.
There's a lot of crazy speculation about her and who she is in this mythos world that they're in. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Well, who's making the Wheel of Time?
What's that?
Who's making the Wheel of Time show? Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the casting looks pretty damn cool. They started with what is that girl's name? Yep. She was in
You're talking about Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've read 3 of those books, but it became way too much for me to keep track of. I struggled.
I'm listening to the audiobooks right now, and I'm back on book 12, and it is hard to get through some of it. Definitely. But Rosamund Pike is playing Moraine. And I when I think of I Said I and their ageless face, Rosamund Pike, I have no idea what she looks. Sometimes she can look like she's in her late 20s, late 40s, and she's gorgeous. So I think she's perfect for what how they describe her. But I'm super.
Shout out Brandon Stawinski. Thanks for coming by, brother.
Did anyone see the trailer for The Witcher?
Oh, it looks so good.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, go on YouTube and watch it.
It looks good. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Henry Cavill as The Witcher is going to be so cool.
That sounds exciting. I don't know that I know anything about that.
Yeah, it's supposed to drop around Christmas.
Series.
Yeah. Christmas present from Netflix. Yeah.
That's why I need these guys, because I feel like my fantasy reading was very there was a lot, but it was very narrow. I would get into a writer like Terry Goodkind. I just would read all of his stuff, or I'd get into Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman when I was in junior high school. That was all that I read. I just read anything by them, which was basically just taking Dungeons and Dragons games and writing them as novels.
It was so good. It was
riveting. I was riveted.
Amazing.
Right? And then, of course, Tolkien and Rowling and all these great writers. But it took me little by little to expand outside of that bubble of the authors I had clicked into. So, Robert Jordan was way late. I was definitely deep in my 20s before I just really gave Robert Jordan the time of day.
So I think once you get to books 1 through 6 in the Wheel of Time are amazing, and then like 7 through 9 are really hard to get through. And I mean, they're like lists on Reddit and stuff that you can look up, and it tells you like which chapters you can read in those books to like get through that story, because he just goes off the rails and it gets convoluted and stuff doesn't even, like, some of it doesn't apply to the plot at all. And then once you get to like book 11, 12, it picks up again. And then the last book was supposed to be one giant book. And then Robert Jordan passed away and Brandon Sanderson took over, and he was like, this is insane. This has to. So he made it 3 different books. So I think it's like a 15-book series. I'm super excited to get to Robert Jordan's part, because I don't think I've ever gotten that far before.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my first real books I ever read was Lord of the Rings. And then I went to, I think you pronounce the name, Andre Norton, did the Beastmaster series.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really enjoy his writing. Yeah. But
JP needs a new fantasy novel series. Well, if you haven't done Name of the Wind, I'm just going to say that's the best one I've read since Game of Thrones.
I'm really enjoying right now On a Pale Horse.
It has nothing to do with Fabio, though. I'm just telling you, nothing to do with Fabio cover there.
On a Pale Horse, TJ, huh?
Yep.
On a Pale Horse. I don't know that I know that one.
What?
I'm really enjoying that one. Yep. On
a Pale Horse is the first book that ever got me into reading. And you said this, TJ, because you want me to you knew it would rile me up. It's written by Piers Anthony, who is kind of a weirdo. Like later on in his life, some of his books got into like weird child stuff, and I didn't like any of that. But the Incarnations of Immortality series is so cool. That's actually how I got the name Thanatos. On a Pale Horse is about the incarnation of death, where each role like is a job rather than like a deity. So like
so it's more of a sci-fi like future kind of thing.
Piers Anthony does this great job of intertwining science fiction and fantasy. So it's got magic and it's got science, and they're like together. So in
and the old gods too.
Yeah, if you kill death, you become death. So this guy Zane becomes death, and then you find out that it was planned by fate, and they all these things were in motion to make him death.
Yeah, time,
like, and so each book goes through one of these personifications. So it's like On a Pale Horse is death. Then there's time, fate, the Green Mother, Gaia, Mars, the god of war.
Right.
And it goes all the way until like you get to like book 6 is the incarnation of evil. So like a book about Satan. And then the last one is End Eternity, which is like the God book.
Huh.
But it's all like, it's very cool.
I don't know that I've read anything by Piers Anthony. It's possible I've missed him. Like, again, I would get into an author and read everything they've done. And then I had these narrow strips I really got into.
Yeah, he's a great fantasy author and science fiction. So if like you want both, where it's a good mix, like I read On a Pale Horse. I think my English teacher in the 7th grade recommended it to me, and that's what got me into reading. That's what started it all. That's actually like my favorite book. I read it every year just to like remind myself where I came from.
Yeah, because I know he has written a bunch, and I've never so many different series, but I always felt like I preferred fantasy to science fiction. I struggled with like a bunch of alien languages to learn and all these kinds of things. I would always get like lost in that. So I generally avoided sci-fi. It was such a weird kind of a nerd. I would go to fantasy good, like wizards and orcs and stuff I could get. Crazy alien races, I would get like, no, it's too much for me. I can't. So I was so, we joked about this on our first nerd show, the Nerd Alert show, because I was like, it's funny how nerds will judge other nerds, right? Like, oh, you like fantasy books? I like comic books. Comic books are cool. Fantasy books are not cool.
Nerd.
It's
right?
all cool.
People are like, oh, you like statues? That's weird. I like comic books. That's cool.
I like everything.
Nerds judge other nerds. And I was legitimately like, fantasy books are cool. Science fiction books are not cool.
No.
I legitimately still kind of have that mindset.
Really?
I do.
I like the fantasy and the science fiction books equally. I like D&D. I like comic books. I like Star Trek. I like Star Wars. I like Doctor Who. There's really nothing I don't like.
If you want a good book series about like wizards, just like all like most books where some kid becomes a wizard, it's kind of like they're Harry Potter like eventually becomes awesome. Richard Rahl kind of like never really becomes the war wizard you want him
They
to.
learn how, but they never get to use the full power, right?
Raymond Feist has a book series called The Rift War Saga, and it starts with Magician Apprentice. And by the end of that book, like Magician Apprentice is book 1, Magician Master is book 2, and he becomes like the badass wizard that you always wanted to read about, where he is like amazing.
I want to say I've picked up a copy of The Magician's Apprentice and I haven't read it. It might be on my bookshelf. I will buy a book 1 a lot of times. I'll be like, oh, I'll buy this book 1 and I'll try it later on. I've never read it. This you said Trudy Canavan?
Who?
Trudy Canavan? Is that it? Magician.
No, it's written by Raymond Feist.
The Rift War Saga. Sorry, here we go.
Rift War Saga.
I'm just opening little windows and like saving all these.
I've only read his first like 4 books, but he has a ton of them. I don't know how much, but like the first one is absolutely like the first few were the main character. I forgot what his name is. His name's Pug, and Pug becomes like the most badass wizard of all time. I'll have to read it again. I want to read it again now. Thinking about
it. The Magician series. There's several series. Silverthorn, Darkness at Zatanna.
Yeah. Read all of those. Read the first 4, from Magician Apprentice through A Darkness at Zatanna. That's like his Rift War saga. And you'll like, I've never read a story where a magician became that powerful and used his powers to like his full extent. It was awesome to read because like you always want that to happen. You're like, I get it. It doesn't really make for good reading because you're always like wanting more. But with this one, he straight up, he's like, take it, enjoy. You're about to see some badass.
I don't knock anyone for anything they like. To me, it's all cool. To TJ's point, it's just degrees of cool differences for different people. Yeah, and I don't mean to knock anybody, Kavi. I think what I think I'm saying is definitely there are nerds who judge other nerds. It's weird that there's these like little views, like Star Wars people who are like super into Star Wars are like, you like Star Trek? Like, I don't know why you like. That's not really cool.
That's the wrong kind of sci-fi.
Right? There's a good and a bad. And I think it's the same with fantasy, comic books, statues, whatever. I feel like people are quick to view one as better or worse, or at least to rate things in some fashion. And I think the fun, or at least what I hope Nerd Alert is when we do another episode, is it's just a fun way to highlight things and look at it from the perspective of, look what this sort of spawned, right? Yeah. I think comic books have spawned a whole other thing now. It used to be this one area where comics existed, and then you start looking at little by little, movies started coming along and TV series started coming along, and now they're very mainstream. Yeah. No, you're not. I'm not taking you personally, Kavi. Not at all. Not at all. And I legitimately do, or have in the past, judged science fiction. Yeah. Not science fiction fans. If someone's a fan of science fiction, I didn't judge them.
Guys.
But I would legitimately judge the books. I would look at those books and think, I don't think that's going to be good. Like, I don't want anything to do with that.
A book by its cover.
I'm offended by you, Thanatos, for being offended, says Whoopty Bird.
I had 2 role models growing up. Tom Baker's Doctor Who and Hawkeye Pierce from MASH.
Oh, I thought for sure you were going to say Captain Kirk. because he banged a lot of hot green girls.
Nope.
Air Spider says, I'm out of here. John said Star Trek. We recently had a show, Matt, where I was talking with a buddy named Perry about controversial topics in nerd culture and debating what's better. And we did Star Wars versus Star Trek, and I picked Trek.
Damn.
And people are still throwing it out at me. People are still saying, now I admittedly love all of it, but if I had to choose one universe, I'm a Trekkie, I think, before I'm a Wars fan.
Yeah, I'm with John on that one. Yep.
I think there's too many. If you took all of Star Wars and put it together, there's a lot of weak links. For such a small universe of film and TV, there's a lot of weak links. You put all of Trek together, there's weak links, but there's a lot more substantive stuff going on there. All those next generation years, all the good films strung together, there's a lot of good and a little bit of weak. So for me, and also I will also say, and this is fundamentally true, I think, of those universes. Star Wars is about the worst instincts in people and the mistakes that people make. And Trek is about hope for the future and the positivity that maybe things could be better at some point. And Wars is always about, no, it's going to get worse. This is going to get worse. It's definitely going to get worse. Even when the Ewoks finally kill everybody, they're probably eating stormtroopers at that party at the end. You know that they're legitimately eating those guys. They're playing the helmets like drums. You know there's skulls in there.
I've always thought, like, I remember, like, in the Air Force, everybody, and it happens in any job where, like, you always do, like, the hypotheticals, like, if you could be in this universe, or, like, so I remember we had a discussion where if you could be in the Star Wars universe or the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, like, which would you pick? And I remember
Potter.
Thinking, like,
Potter.
In Harry Potter, worst case scenario, I'm a muggle.
Right.
So I'm me right now.
Right. No different.
Worst case scenario in Star Wars, you're like a sex slave on Tatooine. Like the potential is so much worse in the
Do I get to wear Carrie Fisher's outfit? Then
yes.
Check, sign me up. I'm in.
I think if this video gets like 50 likes, you should
cosplay as Carrie
Fisher. Next cosplay.
Nobody needs to see bearded Carrie Fisher. Nobody needs that.
That woman's
so was that a thing you're going to do with 50 likes, John?
No way. I'm probably almost halfway there already, and the show's not even done yet. That's a low margin of error.
What about 100 likes?
How about if all of the Comic Core videos I did for the Baltimore show get over 100 views? Because I'll tell you right now, that ain't gonna happen.
Oh my god! Yes.
Matt's like, let's make this happen. You know why this is happening? Because this guy had to wear makeup and get body waxed live on his show. Did you hear that? Yes. Wow, this just went sideways quick, says
yes.
Rogue 121.
Everyone start watching the Baltimore shores.
That would be the worst thing that's ever happened on my channel. Oh, yes, I will, says JP Budget Collector. He's going to watch every video 30
every
times.
Every single one.
You're just to make sure they get over that mark.
I can't wait for you to cosplay Slave Leia. That's going to be amazing.
It's going to be there's way more hair in that video than you're going to expect. I'm just telling you right now. Be ready.
You should wax them too.
Yes.
There's no wax. I'm not promising waxing. 100 views on Comic Core videos equals John. I love most. Carlos, you're the best, man. You're too funny, brother. So, Matt, are we going to be hopefully seeing more of you soon?
I don't know.
I'm fine to give you a StreamYard tutorial if it means we get Matt in the future.
Do you want more of me?
Yes.
Yes.
Implicitly, yes.
So I think now that Melody's done with school and our lives are slowly kind of like settling down to where it's just going to be work and like free time. I know she has talked about like wanting to do more together with YouTube since we live together now. And I've always kind of thought it was weird if like I'm making a video and she's like sitting there, like it's uncomfortable to me. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely, if you guys are okay with her being more in more of my videos and like doing live streams and stuff, obviously for some things it would just be me. But I think as far as like pure content on my channel, it would be, I think, more involved with Melody. And I have to
I'm not naming like content on your channel. I just want to like, if that means you're showing up on White Whale's channel or TJ's channel or mine, I just want to see you back around, you know, from time to time.
Yeah.
For screw you, whoopty bird.
John's gonna show off his layup buns. I think the community at large, we want more. We want her more than you, yeah. More back shaving content.
Good Lord. But yeah, I think what's hard for me with the comic stuff sometimes is the fact that my collecting is definitely slowed down.
Sure.
I mean, I think other than like the book, this one, and 2 books that I recently bought that
Middle West, which I know you're still pulling.
Yeah. So I mean, I think again, I want to read more, collect less. Because it was getting expensive. Obviously it was getting expensive. I'm over here buying like stupid grails. Not stupid. In fact, I'm going to make you show it at some point before you're done here, brother. But I mean, I was buying things that I didn't need. And obviously with me trying to build a house and all this stuff, like that can't happen again. And I do have a very like obsessive personality, and comics have been, you know, such a huge part of my life for so long that I was definitely prioritizing buying the newest, coolest comic versus, I don't know, something for my kids or stuff like that. So that was kind of a struggle for me. So I think if I can make content where I'm not specifically doing,
purchasing.
Let me show these comics. And then I think I was doing a little too much of that.
Can I dissuade? Yeah. I want to just dissuade anybody watching of that myth, because I think it feels true, but it isn't. This myth that to do a YouTube show or to have an Instagram, you need to be buying books. I think it isn't true. I think what the stuff I loved from you the most is like what you were doing with Boy Who Had 7, which required no purchasing. It was just talking about something you cared a lot about. So if you guys haven't seen the series that Matt were doing on Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, I think it's exactly what I think YouTube is missing right now. There's a lot of people doing weekly pulls and unboxings, which I love, and this is legitimately an unboxing show tonight. I think we need more of like trade paperback reading, going back and reading a book that somebody loves and sharing and reminding people that, hey, here's a great story and nobody's talking about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I would legitimately not know anything about Jeff Johns were it not for you and for Matt and a few other people like Ryan, Fire Guy Ryan, who brought me in and said, hey, you should read this. This is incredible. Even C. Woodard 19 was like, this is one of the greatest all-time reads, period.
Yeah, I want you to get The Blackest Night in my lifetime.
Okay. Yes, TJ. Yeah, I do think, and I agree. I think I was taking the purchasing a little too far and getting away from the reading. And I think that was, you know, that was what I loved the most about comics. Like the collecting was fun and getting my grails and all that was great. But I think now that that's over and the excitement for getting new books, I think that my focus can now be on good stories.
Absolutely.
Obviously stories that I've never read before, you know, like there's so many Marvel stories. I've never read a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah. Talk to your daughter.
that has to change.
She knows more about Spider-Man than I do.
You got Reggie and you got me and you got your daughter. We'll definitely help you out on that.
So I mean, like I know Los on Instagram, Los, you mentioned that you wanted to do a video with us. I mean, if there's a story that you want to highlight or talk about, and just tell me what it is, I'll read it. And then we can do a video on it. I mean, I think that's what I would enjoy the most. I mean, you guys have seen, I really enjoyed starting things like Comic Wars. Like
definitely.
it's always been about talking to people, and obviously I'm not very good at that recently. Sorry, TJ.
Well, and I think, like, as much as I'm frustrated sometimes that book club with Alec and I is making my pull list grow, it's also introducing me to books I never would have been exposed to, whether it was Die or Middle West. There are a series of books that I feel like it was fun to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go to my shop today and pick up a book. And I have, like, next week, we're getting an Image #1. It's called Undiscovered Country. I've never heard of it. I don't know anything about it, but Alec is like, this sounds like it could be good. We're going to have
a bad Star Trek movie.
Yeah. We're going to have Bake the Snake join us, and we're just going to talk about it. And it could be a complete disaster and go off the rails, or it could be just an absolute gem that I'm going to put on my pull list forever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be something where I'm running to my shop every week to do that kind of thing. And I will say, like, shows like our Nerd Alert show or shows like what you were doing with Matt are supremely fun. I loved seeing his son get into those books.
Yeah.
You know, there was something really cool about seeing his son, and they were sharing time together. And
yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm so sorry. I really
No, it's not you. It's not on you. It's
Matt,
not on you.
For the last year, you've been teasing a show that I've been waiting for a year. Is your Harry Potter collection?
I was just thinking about that today too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a Nerd Alert on Rolling as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That probably wouldn't be a good show.
It would be an amazing show.
I'm not your biggest fan right now.
We would both dress up in Harry Potter clothes.
Yes,
we could
we
both
would.
in costume. I have enough going on around. My daughters would happily make an appearance. Absolutely.
So I definitely think I have enough time, and that was kind of a hard part because with me moving up here when I was doing those 3-hour drives.
Yeah, the driving to work that you were doing, the family issues that you were dealing with, and the moving. I'm just going to say right now, moving is an underrated stress, period. Like, it is one of the most stressful and challenging and frustrating things, period.
That's why I decided never to move again.
You're just filling your house with slabs and making a second house like an igloo inside of your first house.
Yes.
Well, hopefully I'll be moving again in May or earlier, which would suck. It's going to suck, but I'll have a lot more space. I'll have a dedicated comic book room. It'll be nice.
That's going to be me in hopefully a year. I'm going to be in the same.
It'll be a house, right?
Yeah. T-Bird did help me move all my stuff down my 3 flights of stairs. It was really nice of him. The friends we meet.
Well, Whoopty Bird is a really good guy.
He is a good dude. He trolls a lot, but I love that guy.
But it's funny trolling.
You can't. Yeah, I was commenting on a Comic Core show where they were having some rude trolls in their chat about how that you can't undervalue a good troll. Somebody like I Got Issues or Whoopty Bird who stirs the pot, makes you laugh, makes you think, and adds something beneficial. You can't undervalue that. And I've been that guy. I've been that guy in other chats. It's a lot of fun. You can't underappreciate that.
Adding something beneficial is debatable with Whoopty Bird.
Benefit, yeah. How do you define beneficial? Yeah, but no, it's fun. I do agree. A slab igloo sounds amazing, right, Los? The more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it's still like that same color, right? You could picture it.
TJ can make one.
Yeah, he could. He's built an absolute killer fort.
Yeah, I need some help to build something that elaborate, but it's possible.
I got a couple of good little construction kiddos around here that are really great at building forts. If they could do it with couch cushions, they could do it with slabs.
Fact.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up. It's been an hour and a half. These two guys are so awesome. I've included the links to their channels down below, so you can find their channels and check them out. If you have not done so, I would be shocked. If you're a sub to my channel and not these guys, I would be super surprised. I'm promising to get a Nerd Alert out of Matt before 2020 happens. I don't know if it'll be Potter or Tolkien, or maybe both. We could hope. But he's just an awesome guy, and I'm super happy that the move worked out, that we could see Melody again, and that you're here spending time with us.
Thanks for having me. I know we were planning on doing this on my channel, but I don't know how YouTube works anymore. So John, thank you for and spending some time. Like I always forget, I always forget how awesome it is to just hang out and chat with you guys. So thank you very much for not quite forcing my hand, but I had for this. So it was nice seeing you guys.
It was great having you. And then, of course, TJ, twice in 1 week, man. This is too much to be asked for.
Yeah. It's been my pleasure. And I'll be on Tuesday doing Stranger Things with JD. Yes.
So tune into Comic Core channel and see Tuesdays with TJ. And I'm going to say, hopefully we'll get another discussion here on slabbing and some of the monetary side of slabbing while my books are still sitting in a safe, secure facility in Florida somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, and I think the Comic Core is going to be start doing the Dragonheart boxes this weekend.
That's the plan. Hopefully Saturday they'll do a video, if not an auction, where they start giving and announcing some of that information for the Dragonheart boxes that are going to help little Moira, Paul, the Midwest comic man's daughter. So if you don't know anything about any of that, you could pretty much go to any Comic Core video in the last week, click on the link in the description, and get a ton of great information about their GoFundMe and a whole bunch of other stuff. Thanatos got Adam Hughes, John got Phoenix, and we got this great video. Thank you, Gray Matter Hulk. That is a phenomenal way to say it.
That was a feel good.
Yeah, that really hit me in the feels there. That was actually really beautiful, brother. And he was the first in the chat, so double shout out for you, Gray Matter Hulk. We're going to head out here, and I hope to see you guys all again soon, and have a great weekend. Oh, wait, we did not wait. Matt is going to show his grail. He's going to go run and grab it right now.
I am?
Yes, you have to show it. It's required by law. It does have to happen.
Oh no! Oh, no! Well, I'm so happy that's in a card case.
You did not have to run. I'm just telling you. You did not have to run.
Oh.
Comic heads.
I guess I'll leave this on because it'll get rid of some of that glare. Maybe it won't.
Look at that. Freaking A. So this is legitimately Matt's second copy of this book, but this is a 5.0. Isn't it a white pages?
Third.
It's his third?
Yep. So 3.0.
Is it a white pages, though, this one?
Off white to white.
Jesus. Look at that.
That's going to be hard to find on a 5.5.
Jeez. That is beautiful. So understandably, this is one of those touchdowns in a big game where the player takes a knee. And Matt has taken a knee respectfully and understandably. This is a big knee. You got to do it.
Outstanding book.
The biggest of knees.
The biggest of my knees, at least. I don't know. Mariko liking Spider-Man might have to force me to get a amazing fantasy.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Check out these two guys if you haven't already, and support the Midwest Comic Man if you can get over to one of those Comic Core videos. And apparently try to hit up to 100 views on some of those Comic Core videos as well.
You said all of them. It has to be all of them.
All of the ones that I am in.
Yes, that you are in. Yes.
That's a lot. I'm just telling you, I was on a crap ton of videos.
Slave Leia.
Bye, guys.
I will be keeping track.